We fancy ourselves the crown of evolution, sincerely believing we control this world. We are used to skimming over reality, living on a cozy autopilot where every everyday detail seems banal, predictable, and studied to the point of nausea. But this is a pathetic illusion. Right now, you are surrounded by a matrix of brilliant crutches and hidden mechanisms that you arrogantly ignore. Things are smarter than you. While you lazily heat your lunch, a simple mesh saves you from deadly radiation, and your own brain blatantly lies to your face. You are absolutely blind in your own apartment. It is time to turn off this blind autopilot and dissect the flip side of everyday life to see the true design of our reality. Why has your microwave not fried you yet? Why does your mind cut out whole chunks of your vision? And how can a cheap hole in plastic save your life if you are choking? This is not Wikipedia. These are 33 hidden codes of our system that will brutally break your stereotypes and forever turn your familiar worldview upside down. Resetting settings. The countdown has begun. Number 1. The bureaucrat's breathing valve. We have all gone through this strange ritual. A boring lesson drags on endlessly. The sun is shining outside the window. Inside the classroom, an old lamp hums monotonously. We sit at a wooden desk. We nervously chew the blue cap of a cheap plastic pen. A simple explanation always seemed logical to us. The hole at the top of the cone was created to save pennies on materials at the factory. We also eagerly believed the myth about ventilating the ink cartridge to stop it from drying out. Our collective naivety is striking in its scale. The true function of this tiny detail is dictated by a harsh survival protocol. Children constantly put small objects in their mouths. An accidental breath sends a piece of plastic straight into the trachea. The airways receive a critical blockage. The engineers of stationary brands introduced a brilliant hardware patch. The through hole works as an emergency airlock. It steadily lets in the minimum required volume of oxygen. The little user does not go offline instantly. The body wins priceless minutes of autonomous operation until the medics load into the location. Ordinary office supplies hide a powerful medical device. Apparently, the heavenly office likes to hide life preservers in the most ridiculous places. Number 2. The physical firewall against rodents. Open any school notebook. Notice the red vertical line on the right. We firmly believed our school teachers. We were told about a special place for grades. We were convinced to leave a margin for the teacher's red ink. The real story of this indent is rooted in the dark times without central heating. Houses were swarming with organic pests. Hungry rats and mice loved to chew on paper archives at night. They steadily destroyed the edges of important documents. Users lost valuable pieces of information forever. Paper manufacturers came up with a physical security barrier. They simply shifted the useful content closer to the center of the sheet. The outer empty zone became a sacrificial buffer. Rodents ate the blank paper around the edges. The important text array remained untouched in the center of the page. The margins turned out to be an ancient antivirus against biological threats. We continue to carefully guard the empty frames along the edges of the sheet in the digital age. Developers forgot to remove the old textures after a massive world update. Number 3. The Vault of Lost Time. Putting on our favorite jeans, we inevitably feel a microscopic pocket on the right. Trying to shove a coin in there turns into torture. Fingers get stuck tight, a lighter sticks out halfway and ruins the look. We scold lazy clothing designers. We consider this a mockery of ergonomics. The secret lies in the demands of 19th century users. The Levi's brand created harsh working armor for miners. The tough guys of that time had a special gadget. They wore fragile pocket watches on a massive metal chain. A standard pocket was too big. The watch dangled inside and smashed against the rocks. The manufacturer introduced a specialized slot for a specific device. The size was adjusted to the millimeter. The device sat tightly and took no damage when jumping. The era has changed beyond recognition. Wristwatches ousted pocket chronometers 100 years ago. Smartphones replaced hands and dials for us long ago. And jeans keep coming out with this useless slot. It is a classic piece of dead code in our everyday uniform. Number 4. The navigator for a forgetful driver. Renting someone else's car in an unfamiliar city causes slight stress. The yellow fuel level light comes on. You pull into a random gas station. You frantically try to remember the location of the fuel tank. Which side is the coveted door on? You have to open the door and twist your neck. We are used to feeling stupid in such situations. Automotive engineers added a graphic hint right on the main screen a long time ago. Look closely at the gas pump icon near the fuel gauge. A tiny triangle is hiding next to it. This little arrow unmistakably indicates the direction to the gas tank flap. A triangle pointing right means the tank is on the right. A triangle pointing left sends you to the other side of the pump. This is a built-in compass for optimizing parking maneuvers. Most drivers ignore this convenient interface element for years. We prefer to guess. Interface creators cry tears of blood looking at our torment. A brilliant hint hangs before our eyes every day, yet we continue playing guessing games at gas stations. Number 5. Inverted gravity for hairstyles. Metal bobby pins drive girls to distraction. Hair constantly falls apart at the most inopportune moment. The pin treacherously slides down. The structure falls to pieces in the wind. We are used to blaming this on weak metal or overly thick hair. We stubbornly attach the bobby pin with its smooth side against the scalp. The ribbed, wavy part proudly sticks out for the sake of beauty. The technical essence of the process is fundamentally different. We use the tool backward. The wavy surface is designed as a powerful tread for gripping the terrain of the head. It is the curves that should fit snugly against the skin. The smooth side works as the top clamping mechanism. Only with this connection is the correct friction force activated. The hair is firmly locked into the grooves. It is like trying to insert a flash drive into a port upside down. We stubbornly push, get angry at the system, and complain about poor device design. All we had to do was flip the part until it clicked. The nature of female beauty relies on a total violation of factory instructions. Number 6. The Italian resource dispenser. The kitchen is full of mysterious artifacts. A plastic spaghetti spoon looks like an instrument of medieval torture. Long teeth are located along the edges. A huge round hole yawns right in the center. The purpose of this hole seemed obvious to us. We were sure of its function to drain excess water when fishing pasta out of boiling water, but humanity invented the colander a long time ago for draining water. The logic of the kitchen space cracked. Italian designers added a built-in portioning algorithm here. The size of the round hole is calibrated with maniacal precision. It holds exactly one standard portion of dry, uncooked spaghetti, exactly as many carbohydrates as one adult needs to feel full. No more scales or complex calculations are needed. You simply insert a bunch of dry pasta into this slot. The tool measures out the ideal volume of resources without overspending the budget. For years, we boiled pasta for a whole company of soldiers. We threw the leftovers in the trash. Meanwhile, the kitchen gadget silently kept the secret of perfect Italian balance right in the center of its design. Number 7. The proving ground for chemical attacks. Buying expensive branded clothes is often accompanied by a strange bonus. A transparent bag is attached to the cardboard tag. Inside lies a spare button and a small square scrap of fabric. Our brain instantly produces a logical solution. We joyfully hoard these squares in a separate box. We sincerely consider them material for future patches. We plan to cover holes on elbows or knees with them. The harsh truth destroys this cozy stereotype. A patch of that size is only enough for a doll. The manufacturer gave you a test server for aggressive experiments. This scrap of fabric is needed to check your arsenal of household chemicals. You must first douse the scrap with a new aggressive stain remover. You must test the pigment's reaction to hot water and laundry detergent. Only after successful tests on the proving ground can you launch the main item into the washing machine drum. Instead, we ignore the testing environment. We immediately throw our elite gear into an acid cauldron. Fate is clearly laughing at us every time an expensive shirt changes color to grayish-brown crimson. Number 8. The drainage security system. A rusty padlock on a garage looks impressive. Heavy metal and a massive shackle promise reliable protection of inventory. Turn the device with its massive bottom up. A tiny round hole hides next to the keyhole. It seemed to us like a casting defect or a hole for a hidden lockpicking mechanism. Reality offers an elegant engineering solution. Locks hang outside in pouring rain. Water inevitably gets inside the steel casing. Without this hole, the internal parts would quickly turn to rusty dust. In winter, accumulated water would simply tear the mechanism apart with ice from the inside. The little hole works as an emergency pressure relief system. All excess moisture quietly flows down. Additionally, this port is used for technical maintenance. You need to regularly pour machine oil in there to lubricate the tight gears. It is a built-in self-cleaning function of the iron guard. Most users wait for a total system failure. We saw the shackle with an angle grinder cursing the bad metal. All we had to do was update the drivers on time with a couple of drops of machine oil. Number 9. The copywriter's blind guide. Working in a dark office gives rise to its own secrets. You sit in front of the monitor, your fingers rest on the keyboard. Stroke the English letters F and J with your index fingers. Small horizontal bumps are clearly felt on the plastic surface. We are used to ignoring these physical irregularities in the flow of work tasks. It seemed to us like a stamping defect or a typographic accent. Keyboard creators added these protrusions for the sake of total control over our limbs. These are tactile beacons to activate the touch typing mode. Your index fingers find these bumps reflexively. The brain instantly builds a virtual map of the entire device. The hands take up the ideal starting position without visual contact with the control panel. You can type text with your eyes closed. You can look at the monitor without looking away to find the right letter. The physical interface itself guides our biological manipulators to the right coordinates. The keyboard literally holds our hands. The Matrix thoughtfully simplified our data entry so we could work faster and more efficiently. Number 10. The stratospheric relief valve. Flying at high altitudes causes primal awe. We sit by the window. Outside the glass, it is minus 50 degrees Celsius. 10 kilometers of emptiness separate us from solid ground. Our gaze falls on the lower part of the window plastic. A small round hole yawns there. The inner paranoiac sounds the alarm. It seems to us that the glass is pierced. We expect an explosive depressurization of the cabin at any second. The disaster scenario is canceled by dry physics. The window consists of 3 thick layers of heavy-duty acrylic. The pressure in the cabin and outside differs colossally. Without this microscopic hole, the middle glass would simply burst from the tension. The hole softly vents excess air between the layers. It evens out the load on the outer armor of the airplane. Additionally, this port saves the window from icy condensation. You can enjoy the views without fog on the glass. A tiny breach in the texture saves the entire server from critical destruction. Engineers deliberately punched a hole in the defense to make it absolutely impenetrable. Number 11. The chef's forgotten thermos. The kitchen stove hides huge spaces. A wide drawer is hidden under the oven. 99% of the planet's inhabitants use this compartment the same way. We store heavy frying pans there. We stash dirty baking dishes and old wire racks in it. It seemed brilliant to us to hide metal junk out of sight. Appliance designers clutched their heads at our ingenuity. Initially, the lower module was designed as a high-tech warming station. This is a thermal buffer for a complex cooking process. You take hot meat out of the main oven. You place the baking sheet in this drawer. The food remains scalding hot due to residual heat. During this time, you calmly prepare a side dish or sauce in the main compartment of the oven. The entire dinner is served at the table at the perfect temperature. Instead, we have turned a premium built-in thermos into a dusty warehouse for rusty iron. This is equivalent to trying to hammer nails with a flagship smartphone. We ignore a gorgeous built-in function for the sake of storing scrap metal. It seems that at this point logic has left the chat, but we are just warming up. Number 12. The toxic container of illusions. The supermarket shelf is lined with rows of transparent bottles. A strict expiration date is printed on each plastic container of ordinary drinking water. We obediently throw away expired water. We are afraid of getting poisoned by spoiled liquid. We believe that the chemical composition of water can suddenly go bad after a couple of years of storage. The physics of the process mercilessly destroys this myth. Water is older than the dinosaurs. It has been splashing on the planet for billions of years and feels perfectly fine. The expiration date applies exclusively to the plastic shell. Cheap polymer tends to degrade over time. After the specified date, the walls of the bottle begin to break down at the micro level. The plastic generously releases toxic chemicals and microparticles into the clean water. The liquid itself remains perfect, but its container turns into a slow poison. The user agreement expires for the packaging, not the contents. We worry about the freshness of the eternal element, while cheap packaging poisons our bodies. Ironic, giving you goosebumps. Number 13. The rubber seal of freshness. A hot day demands cold soda. You twist off the plastic cap. Inside sits a thin, transparent gasket. An inquiring mind makes us pick out this piece of rubber with a fingernail. It seems to us like an extra stamping detail. We calmly screw the bottle back on. The thread sits tight. Outwardly, the protection looks perfect. You open the bottle an hour later. The drink has turned into a sweet, dull sludge without a single bubble. The party scenario is hopelessly ruined. This inconspicuous soft soft insert is the main force field of the reservoir. The hard plastic of the cap never fits the neck perfectly. Microscopic gaps remain in the threads. Gas under huge pressure easily finds a way to freedom. The soft membrane works as a hermetic airlock. It firmly seals the system against carbon dioxide leaks. By removing the rubber band, you disabled the main defensive screen with your own hands. The drink loses the magic of fizzing instantly. We destroy a highly complex chemical balance out of simple curiosity to pick at small details. Number 14, a mark for a soulless machine. Daily teeth brushing gave rise to a grandiose conspiracy theory. A bright colored square is printed on the tail of every toothpaste tube. The internet spawned scary legends for years. We were told that a green mark means natural herbs. Black color supposedly screams about toxic chemicals inside the package. A blue square symbolizes medical additives. Humanity loves looking for secret signs of corporations on product packaging. The truth turned out to be boring and extremely mechanical. These squares are not intended for human eyes at all. This is technical markup for the optical sensors of the factory conveyor. A soulless robot drags an endless ribbon of plastic tubes. The optical scanner looks for a bright contrasting spot. As soon as the laser catches the colored square, the machine understands the exact coordinates. The knife strikes exactly at this point. The conveyor cuts and seals a tube of perfect size. The color of the mark depends exclusively on the colors of the packaging design. The Matrix uses barcodes for its robots, and we build mystical cults of chemical safety around them. Number 15, the egoist's blind spot. Look straight ahead. The room looks clear and detailed. Your brain draws a perfect picture of reality. Now close one eye and look down. You will suddenly see a huge chunk of your own nose. It blocks a significant part of the screen. Biology hides a funny rendering glitch. Your nose is in your field of vision absolutely always. The two cameras of your eyes constantly broadcast its image to the central processor, but the system considers this information to be useless visual garbage. The brain applies an aggressive filter to the incoming signal. It literally erases the nose from the final picture. The neural network generates a seamless image, drawing the background over your face. Random access memory saves resources for important external threats. Why process a static object that is not going anywhere? We live with a giant antenna in the middle of our faces. Our built-in photo editor photoshops reality every second. Biological software deceives us for the sake of our own visual comfort. Number 16, the breathing shift schedule. Take a deep breath right now. It always seemed to us that both nostrils work synchronously. We believe in the perfect paired work of the respiratory organs. We think that we draw in air through two pipes equally powerfully. The real architecture of the process is more like a changing of the guard. Close one nostril with a finger. Exhale. Now check the second one. You will be surprised to discover an obvious fact. One nostril breathes easily and freely. The second lets air through with difficulty, as if blocked by a slight cold. This bug is called the nasal cycle. Your body uses a dual-core breathing processor in energy-saving mode. Every few hours, the cavernous bodies in the nose swell with blood in turns. One side goes into sleep mode for moisturizing and rest. The second takes on the entire load of oxygen filtration. Then they swap roles. Nature created a backup communication channel so that the main server does not dry out from overloads. Our nose works on a shift basis all our lives, and we do not even notice it. Number 17, the French sailor's shock absorber. A winter hat with a fluffy pom-pom looks incredibly cute. We wear them in snowstorms. We consider this fluffy ball an exclusively decorative element. It seems to us that designers added it for the sake of a fun silhouette. The origin story of the pom-pom smells of gunpowder and sea salt. In the 18th century, French sailors suffered from the cruel level design of warships. The ceilings in the holds were incredibly low. Sailors constantly smashed their heads until they bled against wooden beams during rolling seas. The Naval Department introduced a mandatory uniform element. Dense, voluminous balls of yarn were sewn to the crowns of the hats. The pom-pom became the first portable crash test. It worked as a soft radar. A sailor felt the touch of the fluffy ball against the beam. He reflexively ducked his head. The impact was softened manifold. Skulls remained intact. A harsh survival tool turned into a cute children's accessory. Fashion took away the brutal history, leaving only a fluffy decorative bug on the top of our heads. Number 18. Salvation from raw dough. A classic round donut with a hole in the middle has become a symbol of police officers from American movies. We are used to explaining the strange shape of the pastry by banal greed. It seemed logical to accuse bakers of saving on expensive ingredients. Cutting out the center means selling less dough for the same money. Culinary chemistry destroys the conspiracy theory. Historical donuts were huge spheres of dense dough. When immersed in boiling oil, the edges quickly burned to a state of coals. The central part remained disgustingly raw. The heat simply did not have time to break into the core of the product. An unknown culinary genius applied the laws of thermodynamics. He simply deleted the problematic piece of code. The hole in the center radically changed the physics of the process. Hot oil began to envelop the dough evenly from all sides. The contact area increased. The donut began to bake perfectly from all sides simultaneously. A rendering error turned into the gold standard of global culinary arts. Genius is often born from an attempt to fix a broken script. Number 19. Runes of the Dead King. A blue icon on the smartphone screen connects headphones and speakers. Data exchange technology has become the invisible heir of the digital age. It seems to us that engineers came up with a trendy technological word for beautiful presentations. Bluetooth sounds like a ridiculous marketer's typo. The developers of the standard simply adored ancient history. They named the advanced communication protocol after Harold Bluetooth. This harsh Viking king lived 1,000 years ago. He became famous for uniting the warring tribes of Scandinavia into a single state. Engineers saw this as a beautiful metaphor for a technology that unites different devices. The logo design turned out to be even more epic. The familiar white symbol on a blue background has nothing to do with geometry. This is an overlay of two ancient Scandinavian runes, Hagalas and Birkenna, the initials of King Harold. Every day we press the button to summon the spirit of a 1,000-year-old Viking to listen to a trendy podcast in our headphones. Rune magic works perfectly in the 2 GHz range. Number 20. The Gold Prospector's Copper Armor. The narrow pockets of classic jeans are always decorated with small metal rivets in the corners. We perceive these copper dots as the brand's signature style. It seems to us that this is a tribute to cowboy aesthetics. The historical reality turned out to be much heavier. During the Gold Rush era, miners bought jeans as working overalls. They stuffed their pockets with heavy tools and gold nuggets. Cotton threads could not withstand the physics of the process. Pockets tore off with a crack. Miners lost their loot and complained to the manufacturer. Levi's found a harsh technical solution. He installed hardware brackets on the most vulnerable nodes of the system. Copper rivets firmly secured the seams. They took on all the mechanical stress. The fabric could tear anywhere, but the pockets held to the death. The gold rush is long gone. We carry light plastic cards and store receipts in these pockets, but the armored nodes continue to protect us from imaginary nuggets. Number 21. The Plastic Ghost of the 90s. Open any text editor. The save icon proudly flaunts on the toolbar. It is a square symbol with a white field and a shifted metal shutter. Modern teenagers click on it every day. They consider this drawing an abstract symbol of digital memory. They do not even suspect the physical prototype of this artifact. Before us lies a perfect example of skeuomorphism. The icon depicts a 3.5-inch floppy disk, an ancient magnetic data carrier from the end of the last century. This square piece of plastic held a laughable amount of data by modern standards. One high-quality photo would take up all its memory. Physical floppy disks went extinct more than 2 decades ago. Disk drives disappeared from computer cases, but interfaces stubbornly keep the memory of this gadget. A square plastic ghost continues to live in every office application. We use the image of dead technology to save files to the cloud. Pure digital necromancy. Number 22. The Reflection of Human Panic. Entering the cabin of a modern elevator, we see huge mirrors. We habitually fix our hair. We take photos for social networks. We check the condition of our clothes before an important meeting. It seems to us to be the management company's concern for our appearance. Architects added mirrors because of mass user hysteria. The first high-rise elevators moved disastrously slowly. People stood in a tight, deaf box. Time dragged on endlessly. Passengers developed claustrophobia and panic. They complained en masse about the turtle speed of the mechanisms. Engineers could not speed up the winches technically. They applied social hacking. They installed mirrors on the walls. People started looking at themselves. A person can admire their reflection endlessly. The subjective perception of time changed radically. Complaints about slowness disappeared instantly, even though the cabin's speed had not changed for a single second. The mirror worked as an interactive level loading screen. It distracted us from poor server optimization. At this stage, the scriptwriters of reality apparently went to lunch and entrusted an intern to write the plot. Number 23. A stand for a dirty weapon. The long handle of a large frying pan always ends with a hole. We easily find a use for this hole. We hang clean dishes on hooks to save space. Cookware manufacturers really did lay down this function, but the hole has a hidden premium option. Imagine the process of cooking a complex sauce. You constantly stir the dish with a wooden or silicone spatula. The sauce is boiling. The spatula is covered with grease and spices. Putting it on a clean table means a disaster and extra cleaning. The genius lies in the geometry of the handle. The hole is designed as a perfect parking slot for your working tool. You simply insert the handle of the spatula into this hole vertically. The dirty working part hovers right over the boiling pan. All the drops of sauce fall back into the dish. No dirt on the table. No extra plates for dirty dishes. The built-in inventory slot saves a ton of time, yet we stubbornly ignore its existence. Number 24. The corporation's third ear. Turn over your expensive smartphone from Apple. A tiny black dot hides next to the massive lenses of the main camera. Many users naively consider it a light sensor. Someone is sure that it is a microscopic flash or an emergency reboot button. Paranoiacs cover it with electrical tape against spies. The technical manual reveals a beautiful truth. This is an additional third microphone. It does not record your voice. Its function is much more complex. It is an acoustic radar to fight the chaos of the outside world. While you are talking on the phone in a noisy subway or in the wind, this microphone greedily listens to the street hum. A built-in processor analyzes the background sound waves. The system generates a sound in anti-phase and superimposes it on your voice. Noise is destroyed by algorithms in real time. The person on the other end hears perfect studio silence instead of the roar of cars. This is an invisible audio stream filter. The corporation built in a spy for the surrounding world to clear your digital karma of unwanted sounds. Number 25. The Anti-Explosive Crater. A festive dinner is accompanied by a bottle of expensive wine. Turn the glass container over. There is always a deep spherical dent at the bottom of the bottle. Sommeliers pompously call it a punt. We love to elegantly hold the bottle, inserting our thumb into this recess when pouring. It seems to us a sign of elitism and good manners. The truth is hidden in the harsh laws of pressure. The dent saves the glass shell from fatal destruction. During the process of sealing the bottle with a tight cork, huge air pressure is created inside. If the bottom were flat, the glass would simply explode on the conveyor. Shards would scatter throughout the workshop. The spherical dome redistributes the mechanical load to the edges of the bottle. The pressure dissipates along the reinforced walls. The shape of the bottom works like the architectural vault of ancient temples. We are holding an elegant engineering crutch. Glassblowers cheated the laws of physics, and we turned this technical bug into a beautiful dining ritual. Number 26. The cage against invisible fire. Heating up yesterday's soup hides a deadly threat. We put a plate in the microwave oven. We look at the spinning food through the glass of the door. The surface of the glass is always covered with a dense black mesh with small round holes. The mesh gets in the way of examining the boiling process. We get annoyed by the strange design. Engineers save our lives with this annoying filter. An invisible storm of microwaves rages inside the chamber. They force the water molecules in the food to spin wildly and generate heat. If not for the black mesh, this radiation would freely escape outside. The invisible fire would instantly boil the fluid in our eyeballs. The metal perforation is called a Faraday cage. The size of the holes is mathematically calculated. It is smaller than the length of a microwave. The radiation simply cannot squeeze through this barrier. Light passes freely, but the deadly waves bounce back into the soup. An invisible force shield separates us from a local nuclear strike in our own kitchen. Number 27. Swedish drainage channels. A cheap IKEA mug stands in every office in the world. Turn the cup upside down. You will see small slots on the rim of the base. They look like an aesthetic casting defect or chips from careless transportation. Users rarely pay attention to such trifles. Swedish designers thought through the scenario of using the dishware right to the end credits. We massively wash mugs in dishwashers. Cups stand upside down under powerful jets of boiling water. The bottom of a regular mug has the shape of a concave bowl. Dirty water accumulates in this recess. You take out a clean dish, tilt it, and a puddle of hot sludge spills right onto a clean floor or dry clothes. The slots solve the problem radically. They work as miniature drainage channels. All excess water quietly drains down during the drying process. A microscopic patch in the object's geometry saves millions of people from pointless cleaning. A small triumph of ergonomics over gravity. Number 28, the voice port block. Our body is full of strange software restrictions. Let's do a simple experiment right now. Pinch your nose tightly with your fingers. Close your mouth. Now try to hum your favorite song loudly. You will let out a muffled squeak for half a second. Then the system will issue a fatal error. The sound will completely disappear. We are used to thinking that humming is born exclusively in the vocal cords in the throat. Anatomical mechanics require strict adherence to exhaust rules. Sound is generated only when an airflow passes through the cords. With a closed mouth, the air has nowhere to go. It tries to get out through the nose. You blocked your nose with your fingers. Inside the skull, the pressure instantly equalizes. The flow stops. No air movement means no vibration. No vibration means no sound. It is a hardware conflict between the audio output device and a blocked ventilation system. You cannot bypass this ban by willpower. The biological processor strictly suppresses attempts to violate the basic laws of acoustics. Number 29, the gravitational press. Human height seems to us a stable and unchanging value. We measure ourselves in the clinic and confidently name the numbers. Our avatar in the real world is subjected to brutal physical pressure every second. Measure your height early in the morning right after waking up, then repeat the procedure late in the evening. The evening version of you will be shorter by 1 or 2 centimeters. The planet's gravity mercilessly flattens us throughout the day. Your spine consists of bones and soft cartilaginous discs between them. While you walk and sit, your body mass presses on these discs. They squeeze like sponges. By evening, the spinal column becomes shorter. At night, you lie horizontally. The pressure disappears. The discs slowly absorb fluid and expand to their original sizes. Every morning, we are reborn tall and slender. Every evening, the matrix presses our textures into the ground. We pulse in size every day, obeying the invisible press of planetary scale. Number 30, the perfume of soil bacteria. The smell of fresh rain after a long drought drives us crazy. We breathe in this aroma deeply. We write poems about the freshness of the sky and the purity of water. We call this phenomenon the beautiful word petrichor. Romance shatters against the hard data of biochemistry. Water has no smell at all. What we inhale with such pleasure is a cocktail of plant oils and the waste products of microorganisms. In dry weather, plants release oils to protect seeds. These oils soak into the dry earth. Soil bacteria, actinomyces, also live there. They massively produce an organic compound called geosmin. When raindrops hit the ground, they work like a catapult. Air bubbles lift this mixture of oils and bacterial chemicals into the air. The wind carries the aerosol for miles around. We romanticize the exhaust fumes of the biosphere. We enjoy the smell of dirt and microbial activity. Nature created the best perfume from the most questionable ingredients. Number 31, sandpaper for illusions. School pencil cases kept the main myth of our childhood. The two-color eraser consisted of a soft red half and a hard blue part. The legend said that the red side erased pencil. The blue half was supposedly meant to erase ink pens. We desperately rubbed our notebooks with the blue end. Thin paper tore to shreds. Ink smeared into a dirty spot. We cried in frustration at the defective tool. The truth was hidden in the density of the material. The blue part never knew how to enter into a chemical reaction with ink. Pumice was generously added to this compound. A fine abrasive stone. This tool was created for working with thick drawing paper or cardboard. The hard edge does not erase the lead. It literally rips off the top layer of the paper itself along with any drawing. This is an algorithm for rough physical deletion of damaged hard drive sectors. We tried to use a chainsaw for delicate jewelry work on thin sheets. The tool worked flawlessly. Users simply did not read the manual. Number 32, the night switch of salvation. A night highway frays the nerves. An aggressive driver appears in the rearview mirror. He turns on his high beams. A blinding beam hits your eyes directly through the reflection. You squint and lose control of the road. A small plastic lever sticks out at the bottom of the rearview mirror. Most drivers ignore its existence. Brilliant optics offer a saving maneuver. Flick this toggle switch towards you. The mirror will sharply change its tilt angle. The blinding light will disappear instantly. The most amazing thing lies elsewhere. You will continue to clearly see the silhouette of the car behind you. Inside the plastic casing, not one, but two mirrors are hidden at different angles. One bright, one dim. The lever simply switches the streams of light between them. You manually activate the anti-glare shader. The system lowers the brightness of dangerous pixels while maintaining the overall visibility of the scene. A hardware switch saves you from virtual blindness. Brilliant foolproof protection on the road is installed in every car. Number 33, the tickle of survival. A ride on a subway escalator has become a routine. Long strips of stiff bristles stretch along the sides of the steps. Children love to press their sneakers against them. Adults secretly use them to clean dusty shoes. It seems to us like a fun bonus from the transport company. A free shoe shine on the way to work. Safety engineers watch these games with horror. The bristles act as a strict psychological barrier. The gap between a moving step and a stationary wall is deadly. If a shoelace or the edge of long clothing gets into this crack, the mechanism will drag the leg inside with monstrous force. The rubber brushes serve as an early warning system. When you stand too close to the danger zone, the stiff pile begins to unpleasantly tickle your ankle. Your brain receives an alarm signal. You reflexively move your foot away to the safe center of the step. A tactile radar drives us away from the edge of the abyss. The mechanism protects users from collision bugs in the most primitive way. The doors of the archive of absurdity are closing. We have explored 33 fragments of our reality's broken code. We saw a world where a hole in a spoon controls our diets, where a piece of fabric saves our belongings from chemical burns, where our own vision cuts out pieces of the picture to save energy. Our simulation runs on crutches, hidden patches, and disguised mechanisms. And the funniest thing is that this entire ridiculous structure has worked flawlessly for thousands of years. We look for great meaning, while the creators of reality simply flip a coin and stick rubber bands into caps. You have looked around with new eyes. You have surely remembered one more detail that breaks the matrix. Write your own fact number 34 in the comments. Let's build a collection of bugs together. Thank you for your attention to detail. See you in the next patch notes of our amazing universe. The system is going into sleep mode.